Hi there, Sandra here from createinspain. Have you ever thought of doing etching with your brother's ScanNCut or your Silhouette Cameo or any other cutting machine that you got? Because it is possible and it's really quite good fun. I've purchased some what they call scribe tools, and some of these I've already taken apart, as you can see. But basically this set consisted of two of these types of scribe tools, which are double-ended. So you have points at either end and they are slightly different sizes. And two of these which have only got one point and which are much heavier. Those are fully metal ones. I wouldn't recommend putting those in your machine. They're a bit too heavy. Unless, of course, you have the ability to cut them off into a much smaller length, in which case you might be able to do that. Or, and I haven't tried it, if you can actually pull the point out. I don't know if it's removable. It's possible, but I've not yet tried it. Anyway, so these are scribe tools. Now, if you want to get something which is dedicated, made in that way for your machine, then Amy Chomas has some scribe tools, or engraving tools as they are otherwise known, and she does two different sizes. One is a smaller point than the other for fine work. It's up to you. Now the Amy Chomas ones, I haven't got any, I've not tried them. By reputation they seem to be pretty good. From the photographs they look like they are well made, and they go directly into the tool holder of your machine rather than in a pen holder. Now because I don't have that, I had to think about putting it in a pen holder. Now unfortunately the pen holder I have is one of these brother ones, and this is the small barrel pen holder. And although this will in fact go inside, it doesn't grip it very well. It's probably on the end of the size that it can cope with. And the widest bit is that metal bit there. Okay, so that is about 9.6. That says 9.6 there. So have a look on your pen holder and see whether your particular pen holder can cope with that size. But as I said, although I can get it in there, it just doesn't really grip it. Now, I happen to have access to a 3D printer, so this isn't really a great problem for me because I can print off my own holders, strip these down and put the tools in. And I've simply used hot glue to keep them in there, and believe me, that's not moving anywhere. Now the advantage of doing it this way for me is that should I decide I want to remove these and do something else with my holders, all I have to do is heat up the glue, pull the tool out, scrape out some glue from the inside if need be. Now this holder one, which has got the slots in the back, and this will tell my machine that this is a drawing tool. This one is just all purpose. It will not interfere with any of the functions. You simply tell it whether you want to draw, whether you want to emboss, whatever it is that you want to do. You just tell your machine that, and it says put the right tool in. You put your tool in, it says put the right tool in, you click OK and off it goes. So this one is basically the same as this, but it hasn't got that indentation on the back, that extra piece on the back that tells it it's a drawing tool. Makes no difference really. But I've got two different varieties of tool holder shapes. But it also, in this particular kit, comes with a set of stencils. And these are made out of decent stencil material, and there's a load of alphabet and numeric stencils in there as well, if you care to use those. And it comes in its little case. Now, a word of caution: Brother does not allow you to use other tools in your machine, then have something go wrong with it and complain and use your warranty. So if you are concerned about your warranty, don't do it. If you have a machine which is out of warranty, then you do so at your own risk. Now, I would say that when you're doing engraving, make sure that when you've finished, you first of all take out the engraving tool carefully, because you may well have dirt on the end of it that can fall wherever it falls. So take that out first. Eject your mat before you take your work off of it, because again there is going to be debris and dust on your mat, on your material. You don't want that getting into your machine. So if you remove it from the machine first, then take it away and clear it off, then you won't have so much of a problem. So that is what I would advise doing. But you can engrave glass, you can engrave metal, ceramic, tile, and plastics. That includes thinner acetate if you want to, or things like acrylic sheets. Choice is yours, and there's an awful lot of things that you can do with that kind of work. So I'm going to do a little bit of engraving and show you the results. Once you have your chosen method of tool sorted, then you can go ahead with your designing. These are simply some circles that I have decorated. I designed them so they are single line, didn't go over them twice or anything. And these were cut, or engraved I should say, into 1.2mm acrylic sheet. Now, when I used the tool up here, I didn't have a dedicated tool holder, and this is what's happening when you use the pen holder, or at least the one that I have for the Brother machine. It doesn't hold it firmly enough, and as it moves, the pen goes up and you get less engraving as time goes on. So my dedicated holder worked better. This is why I think, unless you have a 3D printer, or if you have one of the 3D Fun Prints pen holders, that might work. If you're relying on a Brother holder, the chances are you're better off going for the Amicromas tool, because that goes straight in your machine and doesn't require a holder to keep it in place. I don't think the Brother holders are going to hang on to things that well, but this is the result that you get. And you might be wondering, why did you do those particular things? Well, the reason is you can actually make your own nail stamping plates, among other things. Now that's on the acrylic, and I have done the same thing on just a piece of acetate. And I can tell you that no matter which you use, you can do your own nail plates if you are using a powdered pigment to do it. I have a couple of nails here that I did actually paint, and I have used powders to do the design, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. If not, I'll have to zoom in when I edit the video. But the designs have come out quite well. And all you do is you use it in the same way as you use a normal nail plate. Okay, let me put some nail powder, or some powder on. Now these are Jacquard pigments. You need a very fine pigment, because otherwise it's not going to go where you want it to go in the lines. Now what I did was I experimented with different pressures. I think this was done on a number 3 pressure and a speed of 5. That is deep enough for these powders. If you are doing it on the acetate, that's what I used. If you're doing it on the acrylic sheet, it still doesn't need to be any stronger a pressure. It will still do it. So I'm just going to put some gold powder into this design, and I'm rubbing it in all different directions, like so, so that the powder gets into the engraved lines. Now you can go over it with one of these tools to pick up stuff which shouldn't be lying around on the top. And to just make sure my tool is reasonably clean here. So you get your stamping tool, you roll it over in the same way that you would normally, and it picks up. And hopefully if I stamp it on here, you might be able to see some transfer. Ah yeah, there we go. It transfers perfectly. You get really fine, delicate lines to put on your nails. And to do that, you either, with a powder, you either need to have a normal nail polish which is being put on and allowed to more or less dry, It's a bit difficult to gauge with normal nail polish. Or you need to have your nail set up with a nail gel as you would normally for stamping procedures, and then it stamps on. And in fact, it doesn't even rub off if I rub it. So you would top coat that and then your design is done. Now, I understand that most people are not going to be into doing nail design. Oh, one thing I will mention is it doesn't seem to work very well with nail polish. That may just be me and the settings that I've used. By all means, if you want to, try and give it a go. But I figure powder is easy to clean off. When I want to clean this, all I do is wash it under warm soapy water and it will be clean. Nail polish, I've got to be really quick. I have to be super fast in putting it on the nail. It's just more hassle. So I prefer to do it with powders because I've got them. So if you're not interested in doing nail art, you may well be interested in doing other things like this type of thing on acrylic, where you can use it to decorate all sorts of things. You could, for example, if you had a sheet the right size with holes in it, do the front cover for a notebook or a scrapbook and have it all engraved. And if you do have powders or even acrylic paints, you can get away with it, or oil paints in fact. You can actually put paint into it, rub it into it, rub off the excess, and then your design shows up a lot more. The powder is definitely the easier way to go to do that. You can also do solid block etching. So that is all etched. And that was done with the automatic fill in with the Brothers ScanNCut SDX 1200 that I've got. You can see because this was done without the dedicated holder, it's done it more on one side than it has on the other. And that's because, of course, the holder didn't hold it securely and the pressure was lessened. But it does do complete coverage without any difficulty with the tools I purchased. I'm happy with the way that I've done it because I don't see me doing masses and masses and masses of etching, and this will do perfectly well for what I need. And it only cost me about 15 euros for a complete set. And of course I'm able to print off the holders. Another couple of designs here that I did on the acetate. So yes, you can get some really pretty effects with it, and of course it's going to stay on there. And I think it would be really nice actually to do some acrylic tags with this for key rings and things, and maybe put resin over the top to protect it. I think it'd be really good. So there we are. That is the way that I have chosen to do engraving on my ScanNCut. Now you'll notice that I have not engraved any metal. Now this is a personal choice because I do not want little bits of metal getting into my machine. And I have a CNC, so I can engrave with that. Should I wish to engrave metal, it's not a problem. But personally, I'm not really into engraving metal that much, and I probably won't bother. But if you want to do it at your own risk. But do please try and make sure that you don't get bits of metal inside your machine, because then you'll end up with an expensive repair bill. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Take care now.